Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I apologize for the delay in an upload. I have been really physically and emotionally burnt out for a while now, and I've had a lot going on, so drawing hasn't really been at the top of my priorities lately, unfortunately, and I've had a lot of trouble with motivation. But I'm going to try to get back into the swing of things, and we're going to do this video being a Matthew video. If you follow my channel, you will know that Matthew is my absolute favorite Fire Emblem character, so he is great to get me back into the swing of things. And I had mentioned to one of my subscribers that I would draw some outfits for them because they were mentioning that he doesn't really have any unique outfits in Fire Emblem Heroes, and I agree, that is true. So I'm going to start with one of my favorites here, but I'm going to show everything that I've drawn for him so far. So let's get right into the video. So I started off with a reference of Matthew from Fire Emblem Heroes, and I'm going to sketch over his body type a little bit to get his proportions right, and then I'm going to move on to drawing him on my own. I actually really hated where it looked like his eyes ended up when I sketched over. I don't know if I did something wrong there or not, but I ended up just scrapping it, as you could see, and drawing the eyes myself because I did not like how they were turning out. But this one is going to be Matthew in Felix's clothes from Fire Emblem Three Houses. I don't know what made me decide this. It just felt right, and I liked the way it turned out a lot, and so that's the one we're going to start with here. So while I'm moving on to the eyes here, I'm going to go a little bit into detail with you guys of what's been going on with me since I haven't uploaded in a bit. The end of last year, I went through a pretty rough breakup, and my mental health has just been really downhill lately. I do struggle with mental illness. I'm not going to go into any details of what, just to avoid triggering anyone or anything like that. If you want more details on anything personal like that, I can make another video where I can add a trigger warning and such if you guys want to know more about me. But I've just been going through it lately, so trying to find the motivation to actually draw and get up and have a conversation with you guys, you know. But now that I'm feeling a bit better, I am gonna try and get back into the swing of things, and my plan is to try and get back to uploading at least once to every 2 weeks. At the very least, I'm going to try my best to make sure I get at least one video out a month, but my hopes are to do once a week to once every 2 weeks. Here I'm getting on to Felix's shirt, and I actually really love the way it turned out, but I did have a lot of trouble with the sleeves. They are not the easiest thing to draw, but I really like the way Felix's clothes turned out on Matthew. I think they suit him a lot. I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on that. Here in a second, when we get to where I start the coloring process, I'm going to stop recording my audio so that you guys, per usual, can watch a little bit of me coloring, listen to the music without all of my complete and utter ADHD nonsense talking. But here we're getting into the coloring, so. So here we're moving on into the shading, and per usual I just use like a dark magenta color, and then I cell shade the skin and such, add a little bit of blush. I do tend to cell shade everywhere, but I will soften in areas that I feel like it looks better softened. For the highlights, this is just a add layer on top of the hair, and then I take this smudge tool on Procreate and move it to make it look like hair. And I'm so sorry for all of the sniffles. I know it's probably very annoying, but I am out of state right now and my allergies are hitting me like a truck. I'm not used to the cold, so and as always, I'm not super great at backgrounds, and so I'm just going very simple like always, and using the Procreate brushes to kind of create the illusion that there's a tree or maybe some bushes behind him, and then I add a little bit in the front so that the drawing will come more to life. So here is the finished piece, and here is an example of Felix so that you can see his clothes and compare. I really like the way this turned out, and let's move on to the next one. So for this one, I tried to find an image that I felt like suited Matthew the best, female-wise. So this is gonna obviously be a gender-bent version of Matthew. I might try to do him this way again at some point, because I don't love the way it turned out. I don't hate it, but I think I could have definitely done better. But I kind of dressed him in very little clothing, to be honest, but it just felt right for Matthew to have that mobility. I was going to ask you guys for some more comments on what you'd like to see. If you'd like to see some more video game characters, if you want to see more outfits for them and such, you could let me know what game, what characters, what shows, movies, anime, anything really, and see what I can do with that. Oh, and how I mentioned that I'm out of state right now, and that's why I'm all sniffly and such. This is actually my first time out of state, and my first time on a plane. And I was curious about your guys' opinion on flying, and if y'all enjoy it, and if you've ever flown before and such. I've always been so terrified to get on a plane, but it was actually pretty fun, honestly. So I actually had to take 2 planes to get here because I live in a small town and we have a little airport that takes us to a bigger airport so that I could actually get out of state. But I think that it was fun. It was a nice experience, but I had just such an awful time with lots and lots and lots of delays and things just going wrong. As I'm sure you can imagine, over spring break time, it is hectic. And I was running around the second airport for like 30-45 minutes just trying to get to my gate because the gates kept changing because of how many planes were landing, and it was absolutely exhausting. And then when I finally got on the plane, they had to unload all of us because there was a malfunction, and then after like almost another hour of waiting, they put us back on that same plane because they fixed the malfunction, and it was just an awful experience, and I didn't even get into state until like 4 in the morning. So we're about to be wrapping up with this one. I didn't do a whole lot with this one because I wasn't feeling it a bunch, but I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I do a very simple just color block background for this one, so I'll just show you the finished piece. So here's the finished female gender bent Matthew. What should we name her? So last but not least is going to be Matthew as a detective, because in Gemini the Spy's Comet, that was specifically what they had asked for when I asked if they had any preferences. They said they wanted to see Matthew in anything, but that they would like to see him as a detective, and I thought that was a really cool idea. I had a little trouble with this one. I've been trying to do this one for a while, and I didn't end up coming up with a full body one that I liked, but I really like these headshots of him as a detective, and I think that I will be trying to draw him as one again because I think that it suits him very well, and I really loved your idea, Gemini, and I hope that you like my interpretation. Something exciting that happened recently was I went to my first anime convention, and it was absolutely amazing, and I loved every second of it. I got to meet my favorite voice actor while I was there, Todd Haberkorn, and he is so sweet and such an amazing guy, and I would love to go to another one that he's at and speak with him again. I did get some pictures. I might add them to the end of the video if you guys are interested in seeing those. Stick around till then. I wish I could have met Matthew's voice actor, but unfortunately he was not there. I met some others. Everybody was really sweet and great to be around, and I cannot wait to go to another. Oh, something else I definitely should add at the end of this video is I recorded the fairy tale panel that I went to while I was there, and just hearing Todd Haberkorn fire dragon roar in real life is just something that everybody should experience. So moving over to the second headshot that I'm working on at the top left, I really love the facial expression and kind of vibe that I had coming along for him here. I love the way it turned out. If you don't know Matthew, spoiler alert, if you want to skip here, he is a spy for the Ostian Kingdom, and I feel like he would definitely be that detective that kind of bends the rules. And I don't think he would be a rule follower. That just doesn't feel like Matthew, if you know what I mean. But I'm almost done with this drawing here, and I really do think that I'm going to try and work on another detective Matthew, maybe several, because I think it turned out really well. And Gemini, I hope that you like my interpretation, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!
Who's ready to fire dragon?